In the glittering world that crowned him its eternal leading man, Tom Cruise learned early how to hide the fractures beneath the glow. Audiences saw the fearless smile, the weightless stunts, the meteoric rise that carried him from a turbulent childhood into a realm few ever reach. Yet behind every standing ovation lived a secret he guarded with the kind of resolve that only comes from loss. He built a life in motion, but his heart remained anchored to one woman the world never expected. Those who worked beside him sensed it, a shift in his eyes when her name surfaced, a softened edge that betrayed a history deeper than the tabloids could ever guess. Long before fame hardened into armor, she reached him in a way no script had prepared him for. She steadied him when the ground kept shifting, loved him when he doubted the man beneath the legend, then slipped from his life before he could hold on. Now, after years of silence, the truth rises with the weight of everything he never said. The confession that reshapes his story. The woman he finally admits was the love of his life. Tom Cruise entered the world as Thomas Cruise Mapother IV in Syracuse, New York in 1962, long before the lights, the sound stages, and the impossible heights he would one day climb. His childhood unfolded in the quiet corners of American towns that never stayed the same for long. The Mapother family moved again and again, a pattern set by instability that kept home just slightly out of reach. Each move added another layer of uncertainty, another reminder that the ground beneath him shifted more than it held. Even then, the boy who would one day command every room he walked into carried a longing for something steady, something unmoving, something that felt like it would stay. School offered little refuge. Diagnosed with dyslexia at a young age, he struggled to keep pace with lessons that blurred on the page and teachers who mistook his frustration for lack of effort. Every classroom reminded him of what he could not do, yet even in the struggle, he carried a rising determination that came from being underestimated far too early. He learned to rely on instinct, memory, and grit. The world might have placed limits on him, but he refused to live inside them. That fire, quiet at first, began to burn long before anyone recognized it. When he was 12, the fragile structure of his family cracked once more. His parents divorced, leaving Tom with a deep understanding of how quickly love could fracture and how easily people could slip away. It became a silent turning point, shaping a heart that would later love intensely but carry the fear of loss like a shadow. Emotional permanence was a promise he rarely trusted. Even as a boy, he knew how loneliness could settle into the small spaces of life and linger. High school brought an unexpected shift. A wrestling injury forced him off the mat and away from the sport that once gave him momentum. What felt like a setback became a redirection. He auditioned for a school play, more out of curiosity than confidence, and discovered something he never felt in any classroom. Acting gave him rhythm, control, purpose. The words made sense, the world slowed down, and for the first time he found something he could hold without feeling lost. On that stage, the boy who moved through life like a visitor finally felt anchored. It was not the applause that captured him, but the clarity. The clarity carried him to 1981, when he made his first film debut in Endless Love. The role was small, but the door had opened, and Tom stepped through with the determination of someone who knew what instability felt like, and refused to return to it. 2 years later, the world took notice when Risky Business arrived in 1983. Audiences saw a rising star, but what they missed was the young man standing on the edge of everything he had worked to escape. The success was thrilling, yet beneath it lived the same longing he carried since childhood, a need to belong somewhere without fear it would crumble. Then came 1986, the year Top Gun lifted him into a new stratosphere. The film transformed him from promising actor to global phenomenon. But fame did not quiet the loneliness formed years before. The world celebrated Maverick, yet Tom was still trying to understand the boy who never stopped moving, searching for connection in a life built on motion. Every success added to the legend, but inside the ache for something lasting remained. He had conquered the screen, but his heart was still looking for home. By the late 1980s, Tom Cruise had become a name that demanded attention. His face was everywhere, lighting up billboards, magazine covers, and movie screens. Yet behind the public acclaim, a quiet longing persisted, a need for connection that no box office success could satisfy. Fame arrived in a whirlwind, magnifying every desire and every insecurity. The young boy from Syracuse, who once wandered between homes, now found himself navigating a world of red carpets, premieres, and flashing cameras, all while seeking the grounding he had rarely known. His work ethic became both armor and chains. Hours spent perfecting scenes, rehearsing stunts, and committing to roles gave him purpose, but left relationships fragile. Each film demanded more of him, and each role brought him closer to the public, while distancing him from personal intimacy. The Hollywood pressures were relentless. Friendships and romances became scrutinized under a microscope, private moments transformed into headlines. Yet in every fleeting glance of affection, in each shared laugh behind the scenes, he sought stability, a sense of home that would balance the dizzying heights of his career. Mimi Rogers entered his life in 1987, offering warmth and curiosity. Their marriage lasted 3 years, ending quietly but leaving an imprint on Cruise's understanding of love. Soon after, Nicole Kidman appeared on the set of Days of Thunder in 1990. Their chemistry extended beyond the screen. It was a meeting of minds and hearts, a partnership that would grow into 11 years of marriage. Together they adopted Isabella in 1992 and Connor in 1995, embracing parenthood with a shared dedication that gave him glimpses of the stability he craved. In the early 2000s, his path led him to Penelope Cruz, whose presence after Vanilla Sky brought new light and passion into his life. Yet their relationship, though vibrant, lasted only 3 years. Later, Katie Holmes captured public attention in 2006, culminating in a high-profile marriage and the birth of Suri. The world watched every gesture, every smile, every misstep, while Cruise continued the delicate act of balancing fame with intimacy. Each relationship brought warmth, lessons, and fleeting moments of peace, but none provided the enduring transformation that history would later reveal. Amid the glitz and glamour, the private moments of family life, holding his children close, sharing quiet meals, comforting them amid the constant scrutiny, offered relief from the relentless pace of Hollywood. It was in these moments, fleeting yet profound, that Cruise's true longing became evident, the search for a connection that could anchor him, for a partnership that could weather both his personal storms and the public's gaze. Each marriage, each relationship, was a step along that journey, a chapter in the pursuit of something that success alone could never grant. Through every headline, every red carpet appearance, the emotional core of Cruise's life remained a yearning for stability, a desire for love that could withstand the pressures of fame. His story during this period is not just one of professional triumph, but of a man quietly searching for home amid the chaos of celebrity. A man who learned through each connection what it truly meant to be seen, understood, and loved. Even amidst the dazzling lights of Hollywood, there was a quiet steadiness in Nicole Kidman that few noticed, but Tom Cruise felt it in every corner of his life. They had met on the set of Days of Thunder, two young actors propelled into the orbit of fame. Yet somehow their connection carried an intimacy that defied the cameras. She was tall, poised, and elegant, yet beneath that veneer was a strength that held him in moments where the world expected him to hold himself. While every headline clamored for scandal, their partnership moved in a rhythm only they could hear, a harmony of ambition, artistry, and trust. Their marriage became a sanctuary of sorts. Rare stability in a life punctuated by constant motion and relentless expectation. In the whirlwind of premieres, interviews, and press scrutiny, Nicole offered him a refuge he had never known. She never demanded the spotlight for herself, but lent him a quiet gravity that allowed him to breathe, to show vulnerability without fear. Together they navigated not only the peaks of their careers but also the tender responsibilities of parenthood. Isabella, born in 1992, and Connor, born in 1995, became tangible evidence of a partnership grounded not only in love but in shared purpose and care. Professionally, their synergy was equally remarkable. From the sweeping landscapes of Far and Away to the intricate tension of Eyes Wide Shut, they pushed one another creatively, finding in each other both muse and critic. This rare combination of personal support and artistic challenge deepened their bond, creating a relationship that was as much about growth as it was about affection. In a world often defined by transient connections and fleeting desire, they built something lasting, something that transcended the headline-driven chaos outside their doors. It was not just love that made Nicole the center of his emotional world, but the way she anchored him. She softened the edges he carried from a childhood of instability, offering a steadiness that allowed him to confront his own vulnerabilities. Her presence in his life was both mirror and map, reflecting his deepest fears while guiding him toward emotional truths he had long resisted. For the first time, he did not have to perform to be worthy of affection. In her company he could simply be, and that simplicity, that rare authenticity, became the cornerstone of his devotion. Even after their separation in 2001, the imprint of Nicole's influence remained indelible. Tom's later relationships, while warm and significant in their own ways, never reached the same emotional depth. The world may have witnessed other partnerships, public gestures, and headlines, but the private truth, the one lived in quiet mornings, late-night conversations, and shared challenges, belonged to Nicole. She was the measure of intimacy he had longed for, the stability that had so often eluded him, and the mirror that revealed his most human self. The confession of her being the love of his life was not spoken in grand declarations or interviews. It was lived in the ways his life shifted after her, in the respect he carried for their shared experiences, in the tenderness he reserved for memories that refused to fade. Every choice, every reflection, every private acknowledgement of what they had built together whispered the truth. The world may have moved on, but for Tom Cruise, the contours of his emotional life were forever shaped by Nicole Kidman. Until now, that truth has only been visible to those who looked beyond the glare of the spotlight and into the heart he entrusted to her. By the time Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman's marriage ended in 2001, the world had witnessed a love story that seemed untouchable. Yet behind the bright lights, the cameras, and the endless headlines, the dissolution of their union carried a weight that no public statement could convey. For 11 years they had built a life that balanced immense fame with the delicate rhythms of domesticity. Isabella, born in 1992, and Connor, born in 1995, were more than children. They were the living evidence of a bond that had intertwined their hearts, ambitions, and dreams. Yet even these anchors could not shield them from the scrutiny and pressures of Hollywood. Every public appearance became a performance, every smile measured against rumors of discord. The private moments, the tenderness that had sustained them through years of premieres, late-night rehearsals, and creative challenges, were suddenly exposed to a world eager for fracture and spectacle. Raising children in this relentless spotlight was its own trial, demanding vigilance, patience, and a quiet resilience that often went unseen. Despite their combined effort to provide Isabella and Connor with a sense of normalcy, the shadows of paparazzi lenses and tabloid narratives were unavoidable. Their professional lives, which had intersected at the heights of their respective careers, added another layer of complexity. Films like Far and Away and Eyes Wide Shut had solidified their artistic partnership, but the demands of their work schedules frequently collided with personal needs. Each project, each premiere, each award ceremony required compromise, negotiation, and sacrifice. What had once been the exhilarating fuel of shared ambition became a reminder of the balancing act required to sustain intimacy in an unforgiving industry. Even as they navigated these challenges, the emotional toll was profound. The warmth and closeness that had characterized the early years of their marriage were tested, stretched, and sometimes obscured by the relentless glare of fame. The laughter shared in quiet corners of sprawling sets was often fleeting, replaced by the anxiety of public expectation. Conflicts, small and large, were magnified. Every misstep broadcast, every disagreement dissected. In this environment, privacy became a rare treasure, fleeting and precious, and yet increasingly unattainable. The end of their marriage marked a turning point not just in their personal lives but in Tom's emotional journey. Losing a partner who had offered stability, understanding, and the rare capacity to witness his vulnerability was a profound rupture. The separation was not merely a change in relationship status, it was a moment that reshaped the contours of his inner life. It left a quiet void that no subsequent partnership could fully fill, a reminder of the depth of connection he had once known. Yet even in the midst of heartbreak, there remained a sense of reverence for what they had shared. Nicole Kidman's influence endured, a lasting testament to the kind of love that had reshaped him at his core. The world had watched, but the truth of their bond, its strength, its tenderness, and its transformative power, was a private reality that could not be replicated, only remembered. For Tom, the echoes of that love continued to guide him, a silent compass pointing to a time when he had known profound emotional intimacy, stability, and belonging. The lessons of this chapter were etched in quiet reflection, lived in private acknowledgement, and felt in the ongoing care for their children. It was proof that even in endings, the impact of a singular love could remain vivid, shaping a life in ways that fame, fortune, or later relationships could never replace. After the end of his marriage to Nicole Kidman in 2001, Tom Cruise entered a period of life that many observed with fascination, yet few could truly understand. The world watched as he navigated relationships, balancing desire for connection with the caution born from experience. In the early 2000s, he began a relationship with Penelope Cruz, which lasted from 2001 to 2004. A connection sparked during the filming of Vanilla Sky. Their partnership offered a brief interlude of companionship, a shared understanding of life in Hollywood's demanding spotlight. Yet despite the warmth it brought, it never reached the profound emotional depth that had characterized his bond with Nicole. By 2006, Cruise found himself publicly committed once more, marrying Katie Holmes. The union and the birth of their daughter Suri in 2006 drew intense media scrutiny. Fans and critics alike followed each milestone, from the courthouse wedding to the family vacations, yet the pressures of fame and public expectation weighed heavily. Their marriage, which ended in 2012, revealed the complexities of intimacy under constant observation. Despite the joy of parenthood and moments of genuine connection, the relationship highlighted the lingering ache of past love, the shadow of a bond that had shaped his emotional world in ways new relationships could only echo. Through these years, the contours of Tom's life reflected both yearning and growth. Each partnership added layers of experience, compassion, and understanding, yet also underscored what had been singular about his years with Nicole Kidman. He moved through public speculation, the relentless media, and the personal responsibility of raising children with care, all while seeking a kind of stability that had once been found and then lost. The love he had shared with Nicole remained a quiet benchmark, a touchstone against which all subsequent connections were inevitably measured. Professionally, Cruise continued to thrive. Blockbusters, stunts, and decades of cinematic achievement marked his career, yet behind the scenes, the search for authentic emotional intimacy persisted. Friends and collaborators noted a shift in how he approached personal relationships, careful, deliberate, aware of the fragility of closeness. Each encounter, each romance, carried lessons distilled from a life spent at the intersection of fame and humanity. The quiet impact of past love influenced not just how he connected with partners, but how he loved his children, and how he valued moments of unguarded truth amid a world of constant observation. Even now, after marriages ended, and years of reflection, the imprint of his most formative love remains. Nicole Kidman's presence in his life had been transformative, offering stability, partnership, and the rare capacity to reveal vulnerability. Later relationships were shaped by her legacy, moments of tenderness and misstep, measured against a standard that was both personal and private. The world may have witnessed glimmers of connection, but the depths of emotional resonance were known only to him. In these reflections, there is both melancholy and gratitude. The heartbreak of love lost, the joy of parenthood, the lessons learned from every relationship. These threads weave a portrait of a man whose life has been as public as it is deeply private. Each bond, each fleeting happiness, each challenge, has contributed to the emotional architecture that began in Syracuse, New York, with a boy seeking belonging, and continued through the tumultuous years of fame. Tom Cruise's journey is a testament to the enduring human need for love, the quiet endurance of heartbreak, and the ongoing search for connection that defines even the most luminous of lives. Tom Cruise's story is a tapestry of ambition, fame, love, and loss, woven from the earliest days of a boy in Syracuse to the dazzling heights of Hollywood stardom. Each relationship, each triumph, each heartbreak has left its mark, shaping the man the world sees today. Yet amid the flashing cameras and public scrutiny, one truth remains quietly luminous: the love he shared with Nicole Kidman changed him in ways nothing else could. It offered stability when the world demanded constant performance, tenderness amid relentless pressure, and a rare glimpse of vulnerability beneath the star's confident exterior. Even as life moved forward, with marriages ending and new relationships forming, that connection remained a silent compass, influencing how he loved, how he parented, and how he carried himself through decades of scrutiny. The confessions he never needed to speak were lived in the choices he made, in the care he took with those closest to him, and in the enduring respect he holds for a love that defined him. For more emotional stories, check out this video.